Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to today's town hall. We have a very special town hall for you today. We are going through our 2025 year in review. As always, we are recording today's session and we are live streaming on YouTube. So if you get disconnected at any point, go ahead, head over to youtube.com/at hospitable and you can watch there too. If you've got any questions for us today, please do put them into the written Q&A at the bottom of your screen. That's the best way for us to see your question and reply to it in line. If you put your question in the chat, we can't guarantee that we will get to it. We have some exciting metrics and updates to go through today. So without further ado, I'm going to flick up our quick disclaimer and then I'm going to hand over to PC.
And the camera is working. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all Hospitable hosts. This is the second year in a row that we have created this bit of a presentation and it's focused for our town hall to look at the previous year, to look back at the year. So yeah, get ready for some numbers. There are some big, some absolutely gigantic and enormous, and there are some that are much smaller and nonetheless very interesting to be looking at. 2025 was a very big and a very busy year for you, just as well as for Hospitable. It was full of movement, full of growth, and there was a lot happening behind the scenes. Now, the numbers you're about to see represent all real stories with real guests and real hosts that were offering real hospitality in a real stay. When you step back and you see it all together, it tells a really meaningful story about how hosting is changing and how the way you run your business is also evolving along with Hospitable. Now, first and foremost, in 2025, Hospitable hosts have been welcoming 26.84 million guests worldwide. And that is indeed a lot of real-world hospitality with the early check-ins and the late checkouts, the Wi-Fi and the parking questions, and of course, everything in between. Now, this is a big number. Let's put it into perspective. That is the entire population of Australia. That many people stayed with Hospitable host in a single year. So you've hosted all of our friends down under. I want to say hi to because they're watching the replay, and some of you, very brave, are obviously joining us live to benefit from the chat and even the Q&A sessions. So I wish you all a great summer and a fantastic Christmas by the beach, which for us in the Northern Hemisphere is always kind of something we want to do at least once in a life. That's a good visualization of that number. But those guests were not obviously coming from just one place, pretty much the opposite. They were booking from all over the world, from 193 countries. Now, the largest share is obviously still coming from the United States, but we also saw strong demand across our host base for listing from guests based in the UK, in France, in Mexico, and in Brazil. And that mix obviously is very interesting to be looking at because that's many hosts that are welcoming guests with different expectations, different time zones, different travel patterns. And we are very glad to be partnering with you to offer all of your guests, wherever they're coming from, the best hospitality humans and AI can deliver together. Now, one other thing we're good at, or we are said to be good at, is sending a lot of messages. Now, communication is where hosting takes all of your time or gives it back. The progress that we've made is that in 2025, 108 million messages have been sent through Hospitable. Many of those messages were happening quietly in the background. They are automated, they are scheduled, or they are assisted with your best friend, AI, without host having to be present for every interaction. That is at the core of our mission, which is to gift hosts their time back. But that would not work without the effort that we take in personalizing your messages and offering some relatability with your guest that we offer through our AI products. We want your guests to feel seen, to feel informed, and taken care of. Now, let's go back about that number. That represents for you, hosts together, 150 years of manual work that you don't have to do. That instead you get to spend with your loved ones, with your friends, doing something completely different than hosting, including with a peace of mind, basically that you don't have to think about that business. But some of you obviously just use that time to move on to the next guest or grow their operations, which we also double thumbs up on this. Now, talk about growth, the big number. Back in 2024, Hospitable hosts have together created revenue for themselves in the amount of $4.58 billion. It was already a very massive number, and it was the first time that we went through the effort, really, of basically computing it and make the sum and have a good, credible number. It is a giant number in its own right. And now let's look at 2025. In 2025, that number is now $5.2 billion in total revenue for all Hospitable host customers worldwide within 2025, ending in November. That is the 13% growth from the number that we had in 2024. And I think it exemplifies something that we all felt. There are ups and there are downs. And travel in particular is particularly fragile. This was maybe not the best year for travel overall. There was a lot of macro risks. There was a lot of discretionary spending talk. There were a lot of ups and downs. And that basically, in the category of travel and hospitality, means a bit of compression in growth. And we've seen that across the year, fluctuations between a record Q1 and then, a bit disappointing performance, for example, for Q2, that should have been it. Down the line, though, there was still growth. And I think, pat yourself on the back here a little bit. Hosts together have adjusted and have found a way to grow and expand their businesses no matter what. So I want to extend, on behalf of the Hospitable team, congratulations to you all. You made it happen in spite maybe of the circumstances that may have occurred to you. It was a great year for some, and I want to highlight a number one property that basically, I want to say, is on track for, optimistically is on track to grow maybe $1 million in revenue this year. It's a Ritz-Carlton Reserve residence that is accepting guests, not for now, in Puerto Rico. Obviously, it has the private pool, it has a direct beach access. It sleeps just 8 with top amenities, and it's basically the number one property by revenue that basically we can come up with. It's fully booked until April. Actually, I want to say kind of no, because we cannot check on the calendar. It's still available for Christmas for a very lucky person. When you zoom out, though, that property represents something a bit bigger. When you succeed because the system behind them work, especially when managing a premium property with premium guests. There is probably more messages, there is more coordination needed, and there are also higher guest expectations. Does it sound familiar? I think it sounds familiar to every single host in the world, and not just for that one property. That's where a focus was in 2025. This year, we said it was a very busy year for Hospitable, and we wanted to reinforce on the foundation that our hosts rely on to host every single day. So this presentation is going to be walking you through the product wins that we believe made this level of hosting possible. And first, we're going to talk about AI. This is definitely the word that you've been hearing left and right, up and down across the entire year. This was the first year of AI, but maybe that's not really new because that was the case from last year. To go through the scale that we have reached with one of the best AI in the market at this scale, I'm going to ask for Nick to be stepping in and share some fantastic news. Nick, over to you. Good luck.
Thank you. So AI wasn't something that we simply experimented with in 2025. It was something that we deployed professionally, quietly, intentionally, and at real scale. So let's talk a bit about this layer that actually powered many of Hospitable's product wins. A lot of companies are talking about AI, experimenting with it. We are deploying it at scale. And to prove it, I want to show you something. So a couple of months ago, OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, started recognizing companies that use AI at scale with personalized rewards. And so here, this is ours. This was for reading and writing over 100 billion tokens using OpenAI's AI models. Over 100 billion tokens running quietly behind the scenes for hosts every second of every day. That translates to about 75 billion words, or the equivalent of about 1 million printed books. That's a lot. And to be more precise, we're currently operating actually at just under 100 billion tokens per quarter. So this wasn't a recognition of the entire year. This is simply because OpenAI started recognizing this very recently. So this is constantly increasing. And so the next award threshold is at 1 trillion tokens. And maybe this time next year, we'll have an update about that. But big numbers and awards are nice. But what does this actually mean for you? Hundreds of billions of tokens were used to perform 44 million actions by Hospitable's AI, quietly behind the scenes without much fanfare. This was all to help your operations run smoothly and efficiently, and to help your guests have a great experience. That's 44 million actions on your behalf, covering detecting guest questions, detecting problems during a stay, translating direct websites, writing reviews, review replies, summarizing guest insights, adding upsells to scheduled messages, understanding booking information in iCals, creating your property's knowledge hub, answering questions in Copilot, suggesting adjustment categories for owner statements, and many, many, many more things behind the scenes that are touched by AI, but feel just like software, honestly. Highly capable and refined software, but familiar and intuitive software nonetheless. We believe software should work for you, not the other way around. It should protect your time, making you more efficient in a highly personalized manner. And one of the best examples of this is Suggest with AI. Hosts drafted just over 3 million messages in the inbox using Suggest with AI this year. And this is an 87% increase compared to previous year. And the majority of hosts send these drafts with no factual changes. We regularly see 85% and higher success rates for users with heavier inbox usage. So that's actually pretty magical if you think about it, considering that a message by AI is written, 5 to 7 seconds using a huge amount of contextual information, and it sounds like you, and it does its job. Now, this matters, right? Because as BC noted earlier, communication is where hosting either takes all your time or gives it back. As your property portfolio expands and your occupancy improves, your business enjoys more success. At the same time, you are more likely to feel like you're living in the inbox. And we asked what we could do to change that. So building on the success and lessons of Suggest with AI, we launched Auto Reply in May. Auto Reply is Hospitable's AI autoresponder, able to follow up with guests automatically. As one of our hosts, Farah, put it, I got a message at 3 a.m. and it responded for me. That was perfect. I didn't have to wake up, and the guest still got an instant helpful reply. The guest felt heard, even at a very inconvenient time for the host. And the host didn't have to do anything. They didn't have to visit the inbox. They just found out that everything worked the morning after. So hosts like Farah use auto reply for after-hour replies, to cover gaps in team inbox coverage, and even 24/7 in many cases. But we are far from done. So going into 2026, we're doubling down on our efforts around auto reply and a wide range of AI actions to make Hospitable work even better for you. The promise of AI is making scaling feel effortless. And we're seeing signs of that both in what you are able to accomplish and how we're able to build products for you. And speaking of scaling, let's press on with more specific product wins by first hearing from the Mogul team's efforts to help you with your hosting empire.
That was a really nice handoff. I think mine's going to be a little bit messier than that. Good job, Nick. I'm Brian. I'm on the sales team, but I'm going to present the Mogul plan today. So this section of the slideshow was created by Emily, and she did a great job. I'm going to try not to butcher it as much as possible. So in 2025, there were 1,230 Mogul customers trusted Hospitable to streamline their business operations, turning their side hustles into scalable businesses. To put that into context, on this day last year, we had 53 Mogul customers. So it's grown quite a bit in the last 12 months. In true Mogul fashion, you didn't just focus on one way to make money in the industry, you leveraged a lot. On average, each Mogul customer runs 2.6 businesses spanning three different business models: property management, owner operators, and rental arbitrage. Across all Mogul customers, that's 3,207 businesses. So that's a lot of businesses that people are trusting Hospitable to help run. Your businesses are growing, and on a customer call we had last week, Mandy told us that I've grown a lot in the last year as a Mogul customer. I've upgraded when I had just 3 properties. Now I have 16, and I'm really proud of what we are doing together. So are we, Mandy, and Mandy's not alone. She joined together with 2,094 other property management businesses to automate and publish 19,522 owner statements and invoices in 2025. Consistent and accurate monthly owner reports was just the beginning. Your owners didn't only want to look back at how their properties have done, they also wanted to look forward. So we gave them a way to engage on their own. And today, 1,172 owners are doing just that. They're logging into an owner portal built just for them that can be customized and branded, highlights your company's brand, celebrates past performances, and offers a window into the future. Not only does the owner portal provide transparency that owners want, it also gives them freedom that they deserve as owners of the property. Freedom to book their own stays. So far, 2,383 owner stays have been booked since we released the feature in August, many of them by the owners themselves from the portal without any of your involvement. So that's a lot of time saved, avoiding the awkward conversation where an owner texts and asks if they can stay at their own property, and you have to look at the calendar and wonder how much revenue you might be losing. That owner can just go and book their own stay, and you get a notification. So it's a nice, clean process. The freedom to book their own stay is important, but absolutely critical is the ability to know where all their money is at. So we started facilitating owner payouts. This month marks the very first month that you can pay your owners through Hospitable. We facilitated payouts for 34 owners so far this month, totaling 96,699. I'm one of the owners, and everything has worked great so far. 138 more owners have their bank accounts connected and are already ready to get paid. 100 grand is clearly just the beginning. In total, Mogul's property management customers owe over $6 million to almost 5,500 owners in December alone. So we'll focus on closing this gap and relieving you entirely of this burden in 2026. We'll continue focusing on making sure your owners are paid, but we didn't forget about the other 40% of you that invoice your owners. 2026 hasn't even started, but we drafted invoices tell us that even if there are no more bookings for January, current Mogul customers will be invoicing owners nearly $10 million in the first quarter of next year. We want to take care of that for you. Your owners shouldn't have to chase down their money, and neither should you. Early next year, owners who are invoiced will be able to pay you from directly within the owner portal. So this all sounds nice. How do you test it out? How do you get started? So we've got a couple different ways. You can scan the QR code, or you can go to the link that's on the page here. Book a short meeting with our team. During that call, we can talk about your business, see if these features are a fit for you, and then we can get you a short 14-day trial to test it out and see if it's an actual fit. And then after you upgrade, you try to figure out what you're going to do with all the spare time, not creating manual spreadsheets and sending manual payments via Zelle and Venmo to your owners. So get started today with the QR code on the screen, and I'll pass it off next to the smart devices team.
Thanks, Brian. Hey, everyone. So looking back at smart devices this year. So we started the year with 13,000 smart devices connected. We are finishing it with over 30,000 smart devices connected. Across those devices, we generated 1.4 million smart lock codes for reservations automatically. And we also launched our thermostat integration this year. And so in that time, we automatically adjusted the temperature of your properties 74,000 times. So overall, this year, we have expanded our integrations. We've launched QuickSet, we have launched Honeywell and Ecobee, launching the thermostat integration in the meantime, as I've mentioned. But we've also helped to improve the security of your properties by generating access codes linked to specific tasks. So saving you from needing codes for your cleaners or maintenance to always be on and accessible. And then finally, and this is actually a new announcement, so coming later today, we have just added more flexibility when it comes to backup code communications. So you can now edit the wording of those backup code messages to better match the tone of the rest of your messaging, or even switch them off if that works better for your flow. However, you might not want to switch them off. And here on the next slide is a quote from one of our users, Jason, to tell you why. So he said, "I was so impressed when Hospitable noticed the access code for a booking did not make its way to the lock. It proactively messaged the guest a backup code. This is so damn smart and worked perfectly. I wish we had installed one years ago." So if for some reason you've not connected any devices yet, but this has piqued your interest, you can scan the QR code on the screen, and you can learn more about how to use these integrations, how to automate both guest entry and then property temperatures as well. Over to Andrew with dynamic pricing.
Cool. I would say, Tim, one thing we didn't mention is this year we also doubled the amount of devices we include at the Pro and Mogul level. So most of you at Pro Mogul are not actually paying for any of these devices. We include them in those plans, which is another win for you. So onto dynamic pricing. One of our big initiatives for this year was to get I guess more active, more in your face with helping you with one of the critical functions of running a short-term rental, which is the pricing, someplace we had never been before, actually having an opinion on your pricing. So what we found when we started on this journey was that many of you were missing your smart pricing from Airbnb. That was kind of a surprise to us. It's not available when you become what they call a software connected host on Airbnb. You lose access to that. So that felt like a gap we needed to fill. Even more of you were doing basically dynamic pricing manually. You showed us how you were spending time, often on a daily basis, jumping into your calendar, looking for gaps, updating pricing around gap nights, watching your booking window move and kind of starting to discount pricing. Basically everything you shouldn't have to do. It was just, I think as we said, just begging to be updated by a computer. And then one of the most common pieces of feedback we heard in this journey was that you really prefer to do things on one platform if you can. So when we launched dynamic pricing on April 30th, we reported that nearly 40% of you were not using any of these tools yet. And that was really kind of the beachhead audience that we went after with this solution was how can we make a difference for these properties? Because we felt like there was probably a lot of mispricing happening in the market. And we've managed to bring that number down a lot. So from upwards of 40% down to now just under 25%. And about 18% of our hosts are using Hospitable's dynamic pricing. So we are easily the second most popular dynamic pricing integration or app on Hospitable is our own solution. And we're quite proud of that. So what does that look like? We're currently providing daily pricing optimizations that respond to local demand, events, gap nights, your booking window for over 10,000 of your properties. Since we've decided to include dynamic pricing in your subscription, that's equivalent to giving away about $200,000 a month worth of dynamic pricing software if you were buying that retail. Now, none of that would really matter if we weren't having a positive impact on your performance, your revenue specifically with these solutions. So in the fall, we did a big study of our 50 biggest markets, and we compared like market to like market. Those of you that were using Hospitable dynamic pricing versus those of you that were not using any dynamic pricing software. And what we found in that study was an average uplift in our markets of nearly 15% on your revenue per available night. Now, we're going to run the study again pretty soon in an upcoming town hall and report on the latest figures. They're hopefully improving even beyond that. But at Hospitable scale, that nearly 15% improvement translates into a lot of additional revenue. So helping over 10,000 properties do nearly 15% better is equivalent to another $96.6 million of revenue that you would not have gotten not using that software. So across all of our hosts, almost $100 million uplift in additional revenue just because your nights were better priced. You were selling more nights, you were selling them at a higher price. It was a big impact. So just kind of dialing back a little bit, our mission launching this product the last 7.5 months that it's been out, is to maintain a strong degree of simplicity as we evolve more sophistication over the course of this year. So from the beginning, we made it easy to preview your recommendations, highlighting where we would lower or raise your pricing. We made it easy to revert back to your previous pricing if you decided to disable it. We launched with just 3 simple settings, 2 of which were optional. Over the last several months, we've been adding in advanced controls where you've told us it's important to you. So you've seen things like last minute pricing, far future controls, weekend factor, demand sensitivity. There are a couple more controls we're going to do early next year, very popular seasonality, as well as how strongly you want us to benchmark your past performance into your current pricing. We're excited about those. But I think the best kind of quote we had came from a post in our community summing up this goal of product simplicity without sacrificing pricing performance. Matt told us, managing my pricing has become much easier and the results continue. In fact, I believe my property rates are just as strong as they were with insert your favorite dynamic pricing provider, but with significantly less time and effort. That's a win in my book. So if you haven't given us a try, or maybe you haven't given us a try in a while, please do. You can scan the QR code here to get the walkthrough of how it all works so you can get comfortable with it. It's available in your subscription for Host, Pro, and Mogul customers. And it is, easy to start, completely reversible if you decide you don't like it. Very simple to use. And we encourage you all to try it and join that $100 million uplift. Let's see how much we can uplift revenue in next year's year in review. And with that, I will pass to the connectivity team and Marina.
Hello. So this year, the connectivity team had accomplishments in attaining Airbnb Preferred Plus software partnership and also Booking.com Premier partnership. What that means for you is that we now have a better connection and we also have access to more data from you. And we can see that you are way ahead of your competitors in terms of quality of your listings, communication, and conversion. It also means that we have priority support available for you when we have to escalate issues to the OTAs. It also means that we have access to new features being released by the platforms and we're able to make them available on Hospitable much sooner. Next, please. Something that we set ourselves to do this year was also to become your source of truth. So almost 2 months ago, we made our first big step into becoming your source of truth for Airbnb, Booking.com, and Direct. And we want to put an end to your platform juggling when editing your listings. This is just the beginning, but Hospitable hosts can now make changes to property descriptions, prices, fees, and availability settings directly from Hospitable in one place. So we got a feedback from a host. This is I just make changes once in Hospitable and it syncs everywhere. It's honestly been a game changer. I can focus on running my business instead of chasing down edits across platforms. It feels like having one control panel for all my listings, exactly what I needed. So if you're watching and you're thinking about, coming to Hospitable, you can scan this QR code and you can see a preview of everything that you can manage directly from Hospitable. And also, you can have a preview on photos, which will be releasing to everyone. It's already available for everyone with a direct listing, but it's going to be available for everyone by the end of the week. And next, I'm going to call in Abby to talk about Direct.
Thanks, Marina. This year, you did $60 million in gross booking volume for Direct. That's up 100% from 30 million in 2024. And of that 60 million, 2.9 million was recovered from guests who abandoned a booking and later completed it after our retargeting campaigns. That kind of growth is impressive and is important because by growing your direct bookings, you're gaining control. As Quinn told me on a call just yesterday, direct bookings are a must for me. I've been running my own business for years, but until now, I've been completely dependent on Airbnb. Going direct gives you more control over the fate of your business, and it lets you build a real brand with your guests and keep more of the value that you create. But going direct can also mean taking on more risk. But with Direct Premium, we've got you covered. This year, there were 21,197 direct premium bookings. For every one of those bookings, we helped you reduce risk by vetting every one of your guests and detecting and preventing fraud. That allowed us to save you $125,389 in chargebacks, either by taking on the loss of the chargeback ourselves or by disputing and winning the chargeback on your behalf. It also allowed our partner, Truvi, to pay out $31,363 in damage claims. And those are costs that would have otherwise come straight from your pocket. And for many of those bookings, we also helped you file and remit taxes to your states and local jurisdictions. And that's thanks to a lot of behind the scenes work from our accountant in residence, Brandon, who doesn't get to speak a lot in the town hall, and he should today. So I'm going to let him walk you through those numbers.
Thanks, Abby. So I know she usually talks a lot about tax remittance, but I wanted to hop in and kind of talk about what I've been doing behind the scenes to help our direct premium users. So direct premium tax remittance has been one of our major focuses in 2025. So when we started 2025, we remitted in just 6 states, which was Arizona, Maine, Michigan, Tennessee, Texas, and Washington. Today, we remit some type of tax for our direct premium users now in 32 different states. And this is what our map looks like today. So this is a major shift from where we started, which is nearly 4.5 times an increase in where Hospitable remits taxes now for direct premium than beginning in the year. So what does this mean? At the beginning of 2025, there were just 6,690 properties that we remitted some type of tax for on direct premium. Today, the number is now 21,588, which is almost a 225% increase from the beginning of the year. But it's been a great year, but we're not done. And with that, I would like to update our tax remittance for the beginning of January for 2026. So we will be expanding our tax remittance for direct premium to the following states. It will include Connecticut, Delaware, Mississippi, Nebraska, New Mexico, North Dakota, South Dakota, West Virginia, and Wyoming. I know that's a lot that's been added, and I can see that there are still some that are outstanding, and I am working diligently in the background to make sure we can remit in all 50 states. And so we're going to keep moving forward to be able to do that. If you want to learn more about where we currently remit tax and the tax types, I will drop the help articles in the chat, so we will have that for you. And then over the next coming weeks, I will add the expanded states that we will be adding in January 1. So stay tuned for more in the progress as we is expanding the tax remittance for our direct premium users. So with that, I will pass it back to Abby.
Thank you, Brandon. Finally, I want to share how big of an impact Direct has had financially for both you and your guests. Because you did 60 million in direct bookings this year, you and your guests saved $6.9 million in service fees. And that's great, but 60 million is still a small slice of the $5.2 billion in revenue that you did across all channels this year, which tells us that there's huge opportunity ahead. So we want more of you using Direct. And the good news is it's very easy to get started. You can set up your Hospitable direct booking site in just a few minutes. All you need to do is pick a template, and all of your property information, photos, and reviews will be there for you. You can also translate your site to multiple languages. So if you would like to take a tour, see an example of a direct booking site, scan the QR code, and then go get your direct booking site set up today. And I will now pass it back over to Tim to talk about the guest portal.
Thanks, Abby. Yes, hello, me again. So, talking about the guest portal this time, 360,000 guests visited their guest portal this year. Collectively, you made $177,000 in upsell revenue. And caveating that this is not the full year, so this is just since June when we rolled it out, so even better. And then finally, $18,000 worth of damages were recovered back to you via security deposits. And then overall, so I think we're very much finishing the year with a very different guest portal experience than the one that we started with. It's now a much more modern, more capable experience, and there's just a heck of a lot more in it. So we've revamped the UI, we've made the navigation clearer, we've enabled you to update the portal with your branding and style it how you like, ultimately giving the guest portal a more professional feel. But we've also integrated security deposit collection into the portal, as well as upsells for added revenue opportunities. And we also, as of this week, offer trip insurance in the guest portal. And then finally here, so we've also improved the security of the guest portal via check-in forms. So by collecting the right data at the right time and then validating it, making sure that everything is accurate and up to date. And so again, if you're not currently utilizing the guest portal or you don't know how to, but this has piqued your interest, you should absolutely scan the QR code on the screen. You can learn more about how to upgrade your guest experience. You can learn more about how to drive extra revenue through the guest portal, or how to automate check-in tasks like security deposits, like guest verification, or like rental agreements. That's all from me. Back to PC with a recap.
Hello again. I think I need to reorient the camera a little bit. Yes, my recap, it's basically, I just would like you to leave with just one action item. And yes, that may be a bit of a broken record. We're saying that every year, and we're saying that too every year, is that Q1 is the #1 quarter for direct bookings. And every year there is a few more bookings that were on the booking platform that are transitioning towards a direct booking website. So if you have not yet had the chance to configure your direct booking website, take bookings online yourself without having to pay an OTA or commission, now would be the fantastic time to get it started. That's really something you can think about in March or April. But if you do it in January, if you do it in December, if you do it this week, you basically would be having the exposure from the time of the year where we observe guests are booking for their spring and summer vacation. So that gives you a chance to secure revenue upfront for your top dates during the first half of the year, maybe even a bit later, and set yourself up for a great 2026. We kept increasing our direct booking product. Please check it out. You can have your own direct booking site and integrate with our widgets to be taking the booking online. So we have multi-property search. We offer plenty of ways that are unopinionated to be supporting you on your direct journey. We want you to be making money. We love when you're making money because that actually helps us doing this presentation, maybe next year. Now, talking about numbers, now it's your turn. And you can now check in Hospitable and you will be able to have your personal year in review numbers with every single milestone, booking, and win that you've been unlocking this year. Now, you can do it now. You can do it in a few minutes after this tunnel so that you can have a good look at it. Today was about what we built together, but that story obviously only exists because of what you have been building this year. So once again, congratulations on behalf of the Hospitable team on your success first for 2025. And now you know that would not be a very complete update without talking about the host token. It's like I have legal reasons. And now what an update that we have to share with you for ending the year. On this last tunnel, we have minted our #1 investor is now for sure the first host millionaire. So that basically is fantastic achievement because it means one customer of Hospitable became a millionaire in its own right by his investments into Hospitable, not just as a customer, but as an investor. Now that is made possible because the token price has been known big jump in the past few weeks for the first part of December. Now it's today reaching $20.42. Now I want to take a step back because if you're new to Hospitable and this is your first town hall, we are not a company like any other. I think that's a very fair comment. We allow our customers to be investing into Hospitable so that just it's not your PMS that's owning you. You own your PMS, and that's a great thing. And if we had a choice, we'd rather have customers as investors rather than VC insiders. So this is a slide that basically I've been sharing every week since the second half of the year. And you can see it's looking very different now, or is it not? It's actually looking exactly the same. It's just the numbers keep going up. As a customer and likely an accredited investor, you are all invited to invest into Hospitable. I've been telling you that. Thank you for showing up here on this channel. But this is kind of, you know, I'm running out of words to basically express the opportunity that's ahead. We want to keep Hospitable 100% owned by the team that is building Hospitable and by its customers. We're building it for. So we build for you. We don't build to satisfy the goals of a board of people who do not always understand the industry. You too, you can invest in Hospitable by joining on invest.hospitable.com. The increase is really because I put a lot more attention to our token in the second half of the year, but which represents now means a 162% increase. That increase is not because we grew 160% since August. That is because it was grossly undervalued. We believe it's still undervalued. It was 90% undervalued when I shared that slide first. Now we believe it's 53% discounted from what would represent a fair market value. So there is obviously plenty of upside. Just imagine joining Hospitable when the starting point was $5.2 billion in customer gross booking value. So you can join, you can invest, you can do it on invest.hospitable.com. And just a tip that if you're a US person residing in the US, you will need to demonstrate that you are an accredited investor. You will need to provide evidence. And I have to be very strict because otherwise I'm going to end up in jail, which I would rather not. The best service I found for that is accredited.am, which is a service from a broker-dealer that is legally authorized to be issuing those kind of verification. And that is what I find is a service that offers the fastest and the cheapest accredited investor verification later. So invest.hospitable.com to be investing, and there will be more talks about that, more brief, but across 2026, because we want to make that an opportunity much far more democratic than what is currently possible. And on that note, I finally can go back to Miles and start the Q&A section.
Yes, indeed. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, folks, so as always, if you do have a question that you would like to ask us on stage, you can do so. If you go down to the react button at the bottom of your screen, you can see the little raise hand button. If you click that, that will let me know that you want to come on stage. Once I invite you on stage, please make sure to unmute yourself so that we can hear you talk. Okay, first up, we have James. Hello, James. I'm inviting you on stage. Do you have a question for us?
Yeah, I had a question. I think as the short-term rental industry matures, many of us right now are stitching together multiple tools across the guest-facing journey. For example, guests right now are booking through my direct booking website. Then they receive an email from Hospitable. If they have questions about their payment details, I send them to the guest portal. They get their guidebook from TouchStay. They purchase add-ons through the hostco. But from an operator's perspective, this is working. But from a guest perspective, it's very, very fragmented. They have emails coming from different platforms, a lot of times going spam, text they can't reply to, guidebooks without actual reservation details. The upsells aren't intuitive, especially for non-direct bookings for guests that are already on the property. And I'd love to ideally offer guests a single email, a single text number, a single link, something that can be the ultimate source where they click that and everything they have is there, whether it's the house information, a way to communicate, a way to make purchases. And my question is it Hospitable's long-term vision to become that unified guest-facing hub? Or does Hospitable see its role primarily as like an orchestration layer that integrates best-in-class guest tools?
I would push back and say it's not our long-term vision, but our near-term vision. So yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of the pieces in place. A lot of them you've seen glimpses of the next steps. So like you saw us release custom domain emails, so emailing from your own custom domain to owners. That was released recently. That is coming to customer-facing emails, guest-facing emails. You're already able to use your own domain on your guest portal that can now be branded for you. There are many guidebook-like features likely on our 2026 roadmap that I did not want to discuss today because that is a subject of a January town hall. But to answer your question, yes, we increasingly are responding to a request from our customers to be kind of the one place to do it all. And I think there are kind of network effects to doing that all on one platform, like you've suggested, and we want to do that for you, for sure.
6 months ago, we didn't have any guest portal. 3 months ago, the guest portal was not converting enough. We had team that basically has been working on that, and we're going to continue working on that somehow to basically ensure this is going to be rolling out more features. I think today you can have ID verification, rental agreements, you can have security deposit, you can have trip insurance soon. It's in beta. I should not be talking so much about this. We are interested in guidebooks. We're interested in basically bringing an interface for communication directly with your guests from the guest portal. There is a check-in form that Tim has been talking about. This is basically all part of a rollout. We believe the guest portal is a #1 property, as in it's going to be the #1 page that basically is hosted by Hospitable, by the number of guests that are looking at it, checking it out, and that creates meaningful revenue and guest experience opportunities simply for every single one of you. So there is a great sense of urgency on a company to basically make sure this is rolled out, expanded, and deeper than what it is today. Just remember, it's a product, it's never finished. It's the state that it is today is the worst it's ever been, and it will basically keep improving from that point on. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much for your question, James. Okay, next up we have Mike. Hello, Mike. Welcome on stage.
Hello, Mike. How can we help you? You can unmute yourself. We're not hearing you now.
Sorry about that. You guys hear me now?
Great. Fantastic.
All right. Long time attender, first time talker. So sorry about that glitch there. But no, it's been great seeing you guys grow over the last 2 years. I've only been in the business for about that long, but I've been pretty much attending town hall since the beginning. So all the growth has been great, seeing the team grow. I'm a Mogul user, and I just wanted to say, I think what's really lacking on my end specifically, I integrate a lot of tools. I use a lot of integrations with Zapier, and I'd really like to see more control over certain things. It seems like anytime I'm trying to build an integration to tie in my tech stack, Hospitable feels like it's the bottleneck. And I feel like that's something that Mogul users overall, I think, really need. I don't think I'm alone on that. For instance, I can't have a trigger or even an email sent when a rental agreement gets signed. So there's just always certain roadblocks that I'm running into trying to find workarounds. So I just wanted to see if there's, if that's being thought about, or, I know, for instance, we still can't have the custom fields and rental agreements mapped to the data that gets sent out. So I'm just hoping for more customization and flexibility with that so we can really do what we want and use it as our core functionality next year.
Yeah. I'd say that's on our radar. I don't think we've put a date on any of that work. I think the best thing for you to do is on our feedback.hospitable.com. Let us know specifically what events you're missing or what kind of data structure missing. I know the rental agreement custom fields one is already highly upvoted. And yeah, stay tuned for our 2026 roadmap town hall in January.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mike. Next up, we have Margaret. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Perfect. Yeah. Yes.
So Airbnb and VRBO really want to own the customer and are offering a lot of aggressive promotions for hosts who offer their proprietary promotions. So what is the response to hosts being cut off from the new guest pipeline if we're using Hospitable as a PMS?
Not sure what is meant by that. I think one thing that Marina alluded to in talking about connectivity is that our hosts are performing better than non-software connected hosts on OTA platforms. So I think it's actually the opposite of that. And specifically, what do you mean by being cut off from the pipeline?
Well, they're going to stop promoting PMS customers. I can see that in the near future with the emphasis they're putting on their proprietary promotions.
I think those promotions remain available to PMS connected hosts.
Yes.
Okay,
They
so you
just
don't
have-
see this
they just-
you don't see this as a problem looming.
So I think I mean, ooh, I think that's the moment when people are starting to comment on my face. So the relationship that we have with Booking, with Booking.com, with Airbnb or Vrbo is one of partnership. We are here to be providing supply to them. It's actually very much the deal that those OTAs have with property management software, all and every single one of them. The fact that basically we are the top tier partner with Airbnb and Booking.com is basically meaning we have a lot more access, we have a lot more ability to get feedback and stronger integrations. The very specific point that you're raising is about the promotions. By the very definition of the promotions, they are trying to gain a competitive advantage, not against the PMS, but really against the other booking platforms. They want to secure supply that's going to be cheaper on their platform than it would be on another platform. If we basically have that in a PMS, the immediate thing that all the PMS owners, all the PMS software people are going to do is we're going to raise the prices by that much, and then we're going to offer a discount. So basically you have the right label. This is why the OTAs are basically allowing you to are restricting the ability to do those promotions outside of the property management software and into directly their own booking platform. So they can be guaranteed that your source of truth is going to be pushing the rates, and then you're having the promotion basically labeled as such and configured as such exclusively to Airbnb. The game is not a tug of war between the PMS supply or basically the booking platform. It's actually far more between the booking platform themselves and trying to get and secure a better rate from basically what is going to be pushed by your PMS on another booking platform. There definitely, I think, we've received a lot of emails from booking platform this year about changes of behavior, hiding guest information, changing pricing structure. There are some that are definitely a bit less palatable than others. And I think fundamentally the property management software is the way where you can protect yourself from those risks because you don't have your eggs in one basket. You can distribute your inventory to multiple booking channels, and you have a right to have a direct relationship with your guests. So that's, for example, the check-in form. We can ask for the guest email, we can ask for the guest phone number, and we can do so compliantly and represent that to any booking channel that would believe it's not fair, or it's basically in violation of the term or whatever exactly they can make up. And it's basically backed by a certain market share that we may represent for those booking platforms. We are not here we do not show up in a conversation with those booking platforms, obviously on an equal path, but we know that we represent quite a bit of the booking value, quite a bit of revenue for those booking platforms, and just like many other property management software are in the space. But we really are starting to be really within the top 3 in terms of transactions with booking platforms. That's what the numbers that we're showing are showing. And I think it's very transparent to the people in the industry what's basically is happening.
Or did she go inside?
Sorry, Margaret? I think we lost you here for a bit. Margaret?
Okay, I think we might have lost Margaret, and we'll move on. Okay.
Okay.
But I think we lost Margaret mid-conversation there.
Okay.
Hopefully she can pick up on the recording.
I know that there is always a bit of fantasy about basically the relationship between a PMS and an OTA. It's really, I find, is a lot simpler than what I've seen on forums.
We don't have any hands raised just yet, but if you do have a question, we have a few minutes left. Whilst we wait, I'll just bring up the slide here. We do have another town hall coming soon. If I do the maths quickly, I think there's a 3-week gap instead of our usual 2 weeks because of the holidays. So it's Jan 7th that we'll be doing our next town hall, and that's going to be looking at the 2026 product roadmap. So lots of exciting updates of what's to come in the new year. So you can scan that QR code and add it to your calendar now to make sure you don't miss that event. Okay, we got another person in the queue, and it's Elle.
Ellie.
Welcome you on stage.
Hi, yes, it's Elle. Thank you so much for having this. It's very useful. I just had a quick question about ductless mini splits. Is there any way to remotely access or control those, like Nest or baseboard heat or anything like that? I know ductless mini splits have a physical remote.
I can take this one. Currently, there is no way to do it. No,
I
unfortunately.
figured. Okay.
Yes,
Thank
mini
you. It's a
splits
big
are
problem.
yes,
Okay.
mini splits are a bit complicated. But we'll focus on thermostats a little bit next year in terms of Nest and other integrations, which should hopefully be able to help with this a little bit.
Yeah, there'll be something soon. Okay, thanks.
Perfect. Thank you, Elle. Okay, we don't have any more hands raised at the moment.
Okay. I'm calling it. Okay, we have just last one.
Oh, there we go.
Elvis is
Elvis.
coming up. Thank you,
Hello,
Elvis.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is a small one, but since nobody raised their hand, I figured I'd ask. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, perfectly. Thank you for asking the last question of the year. Please make it count.
Yeah, okay. There's a lot of pressure, but all right. So I was on the direct booking configuration page in Hospitable, and one thing I noticed is this is more of a feature request, but for the promo codes, I thought you guys used to have the ability to set a limit per guest versus like an aggregate on how many times it can be redeemed. But at least in your instructions, it says that. But then when I went to check it, it looks like you can't set it per guest. Is that something that you guys are going to bring back? Because I find that very useful, that configuration setting.
I don't think we ever had that setting. Abby, do you?
I was just going to check because I wasn't sure either. I don't think so. I
No.
think it was always a maximum number of uses of that code in general. We've certainly gotten some feedback, other points of feedback on promo codes. I think that's an area of direct that we haven't invested in. We have some ideas on how we can improve promotions to drive direct booking growth more generally. So I would submit that as a feature request if you haven't already, and we can include that in some future work for around promotions for direct.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm now here checking out ductless mini split air conditioners. What is that? I'm a European. I can't understand. Okay, I think we have one very last one. Roger. Okay, Roger.
Hi, can you hear me?
Perfectly. How can we help you?
Pierre, I love you. Can you please let us send a message to guests the same day they check out, asking them for a review? That's like, I know why you won't do it, but it's up to the host to decide.
You're doing that request.
And it's not for Hospitable to decide. It's up to the host to decide.
You know that basically we often try and we often do this experiment because obviously there's no problem. We can do that. Every single customer that basically has done that, has disabled that within 3 weeks. It's a curse. I think I have no superstition, but basically this is what's happening is that every time there is a curse, every single customer that basically records that churned, so cancel their Hospitable in fury, because we did the thing that they asked us to do, and then they begged us to disable it, because there was a bad streak of guests, and then that basically created this kind of problems. That basically is my memory of it. I don't know if basically we're that strict now, to be fair. about basically. So you're saying that you still cannot have a message on the day of checkout that's being sent to request a review by the check-in time, by the checkout time?
Yeah, same day, or you could even have like set an option for number of hours. 1 hour after, 2 hours after, 3 hours after, so on. However you want to do the user interface, but it's a choice by the host. It should not be a choice by Hospitable.
Yeah, so you can send this message 10 minutes after checkout. That's what you
Yes, a
want?
certain amount of hours after checkout.
Well, you can do that now. Set a message after checkout on the, I've just created one. So go to messaging rules, add new, select schedule a message after checkout, and send this message. Oh, you're that Roger.
Yes, it's me.
You're that Roger. No,
yes,
no,
it's
no.
me.
I would say you're not new to Hospitable. You probably have so much baggage that basically you can understand everything I'm saying. That's been changed a few years ago, Roger.
Huh?
That's been changed a few years ago, Roger. Yeah, I know it doesn't age. It's not good for our skin and all we moisturize, but it has changed quite some time ago. So you can send this message now, 10 minutes after checkout. You can change it immediately on the checkout day. How are you doing, Roger? It's been.
I love my life, and
Huh?
I love Hospitable, and you're one of my
no, you started
favorite
that. You started by
people.
saying you love me, and then basically telling me that it's somehow your choice. Like,
Oh, actually, I see this is automatically 3 hours after checkout now.
but no. You can. But if you create a new rule, if you can adjust it, you can change on the immediately on the minutes or hours, and you can basically change send the units. So yeah. You can even send before the checkout, which is the checkout time, so that's basically default. So you can do whatever you like there.
Okay, wonderful. I'm glad you changed that. I wonder what happened, why I didn't know that.
That's because we carry a lot of baggage. It's been years. Okay, thank you. That's actually a great end to the year on this thing. So it's Roger. If you basically, I believe there are multiple Rogers on Facebook on community that are showing up, but it's this the Roger Lee. I believe I'm right on this one because I didn't confirm the last name. But anyway, who's been a long time user of Hospitable, obviously from a time when it was not named Hospitable. So okay, I got to wrap up that presentation and that year. 2025 was a very busy year. What we've seen in these stories is that it was a very busy year for you. It was a very busy year for Hospitable as well, obviously, because that partnership is an ongoing and continuous one. It doesn't stop. So there will always be requests. There will always be something to be improving. And now about 2026. I will not have the chance to basically wish you plenty of success, but let's build on what we've achieved in 2025 for an even better 2026. That's going to be more resilient, more diversified, more distributed, more welcoming to people all around the world. I think that's really what travel and hospitality stands for as an industry. That's why I can talk to you with that accent and Miles can talk with that accent. I think I understand mine better. But yeah, on behalf of the entire Hospitable team, thank you for sticking with us for this year, to the ups, to the downs. And just, we will still be there across the vacation, across the holidays, and into the new year to be supporting you. And we'll continue to do that because that's the thing that we've decided to commit our lives to for the time being. Thank you so very much. $5 billion strong. Continue to do that hell of a job. Thank you. Have a good and fantastic